Danny, I watched it. I watched most of it last night, and then I decided another day tomorrow, so I better bed early. But Manchester City moved one step closer to the Champions League quarter-finals, a 3-1 win in Copenhagen. Danny, I'm looking at that. One or two people have mentioned this to me earlier on. Whatever City do at the moment, will their European successes ever be idolised, if you like, recognised, if you like, in the same way as Manchester United's was back in 1999 when they won in the Nou Camp, when they came back, when it looked as if it was all gone against Bayern Munich? City just seemed to go on with it. Everybody always talks about that night in the Nou Camp. They don't talk about City in similar terms.
Well, because we're not that far ahead of it yet. I think the City team and what they're achieving and what they've already achieved will be talked about more glowingly and more respectfully as time passes. I think that's normally the way.
Yeah.
There's nobody who loves the game and understands the game who could go against the magnificence of what they're achieving and what they've done. And their consistency levels is beyond anything I've seen. You know, they're talking about the amount of points they get every season, the latter stage of the Champions League every season bar one. It's just incredible, and you get the feeling there's more to come.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I think
for everybody else.
In football, Simon, do we only truly understand what we had once it's gone?
Possibly, but I think that could be said about many things in life, isn't it? I mean, you look back in '99, and it's a different time in the evolution of the Premier League. It's pre-Chelsea. It's pre the other sides that are able now to compete with the legacy sides like Manchester United and Liverpool and possibly even Arsenal, because they've had enormous benefactors that have come in. And of course, in the '99 situation, you've got the stardust of other people around it, like Beckham and people like that. They're all part of folklore. And then you've got the manner in which they won that Champions League final, because they do it with 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of a game, which they were dead and buried in, perceived to be dead and buried in.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other side of the argument, which is that people don't admire certain aspects of Manchester City's performance off the field. And when you've got the champions of England, albeit still only allegations, but found guilty by UEFA, being charged with 115 charges, and some of them about the mechanisation of the opportunity, then it all becomes a little bit. But as far as the team are concerned, I mean, it's difficult to argue that you aren't looking at the most remarkable. I think you are looking at the most remarkable team in the Premier League era. Not in English football, but in the Premier League era, because Liverpool will lay claim to the teams of the 70s and 80s that can make that similar sort of claim. And then you've got Pep coming out with self-serving tripe about nobody felt that this club was going to be big enough to win the Champions League. Oh, leave off. You've spent hundreds of millions of pounds on players. You've bought the best manager. You've had the best facilities. I used to listen to this nonsense about, they're not experienced enough. But all their players have played in massive sides that have won Champions Leagues or been participants in significant Champions League games. So I'm not surprised they've won the Champions League. And I didn't think 8 years ago, or whenever he walked through the door, this was going to be too much for Man City. I was in the camp of going, when are you going to bloody win it then?
Do you know what?
Yes.
I
agree with that.
I don't. I wasn't in that. I actually, when he came in, even though you know what, a part of me was like, he hasn't done it at Munich. He only did it because he had Messi. That kind of attitude. You know, this City side, he's got to rebuild it.
But he was brought in to do it.
I know he was.
In some respects.
But I'm saying that my feeling, and I think others I spoke to, was like, we'll see when he's got to overcome Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, the jury was out to a degree.
So I don't think it's tripe what
overcome Liverpool. When was it going to open? In 2015?
Well, I've thrown Liverpool in there, but as in
16.
You know, to become a powerhouse in the Premier League, because they were already established powerhouses in terms of their history and their worldwide support and all the things. You know, Liverpool have won the Champions League in recent times twice, haven't they? So,
they hadn't won the Premier League for 30 years, and Manchester City had won it before he walked in the door.
All right, Arsenal. Throw Arsenal in with Wenger's success. So what I'm saying is the reality is that City had got nowhere near to a Champions League a semi-final before he come. So to think he was going to get them there wasn't everybody. I don't think everybody was on board with that.
I must admit, I'm with Simon. I'm with Simon, Danny. I thought that's just what he's here to do.
It is what he's there to do. I get that, and he knew the remit.
Yeah.
And maybe whatever he's saying now.
Did you think it was beyond? Did you think it was going to be beyond Manchester City and their aspirations and their ambitions and their resources and their direction of travel, that they were going to win the Champions League? Because that seems to be the picture he's painting.
When they didn't get over the line a couple of times in years gone by, you know, the semi-final and final and stuff, part of me thought he might just walk at one point. I never thought he'd stay this long. You know, because at Munich he ended up leaving when he didn't get over the line. You think, what a club to stay at to try and get, you know.
Get out there sharpish.
So I don't think it was a given that everybody thought it was inevitable they were going to go.
Well,
I don't think it was inevitable.
Danny, have a listen to this. Simon calls it self-serving tripe. I'm not sure if it was self-serving tripe, but this was Guardiola on what he thought they could and couldn't do.
I think the mentality, we have a good characters, good personalities in the team, how they react in the bad moment. So in that terms, yes, I had the feeling like when I arrived 8 years ago, this competition was a little bit like, wow, maybe it's too much for us. In our defeats, in our bad moments, and our steps to grow up, and help us to be in that position that we are. You know, 2 Champions League, 1 semi-final, 2 Champions League final, 1 semi-final in the last 3 years, and now we have the awareness. All the club is saying, okay, we can go everywhere to try to be ourselves. Before, I felt, okay, let's go. Are you sure, Pep, that we are ready to do it? Now I think all organization, all the club believe that we can do it, and this is, I think, the best legacy that we gave to the club, to the team. That now, okay, Man City, they can compete. That is so good.
And yet the messages start, and there's one, Danny, of quite a number. How can you three sit there in awe of City when they have these charges hanging over them? Anyone can play total football when they buy it.
Well, if you go...
That's just one of a number
but that's not true, because Manchester United have spent as much, if not more, than Manchester City.
Well, they have spent more.
And so with that in mind, that argument is not right. And no one sat here in their thrall. We've put a rounded argument, which is, on one hand, you have to admire the magnificence of the performance on the pitch. And this team will win the Champions League again this year, because I don't see anyone else beating them.
Yeah, but let's also say, when Man United won the treble, and when they had the power, when they were the best side around, and you know, no one could compete with their spending power in our league. When they went out and got the best player every season, when Ferguson decided, I'll go and get Varane, or I'll go and get Ferdinand, or I'll go and get Van Nistelrooy. You know, they had the best wealth. Now, we can look at the charges and analyse them, how far back they go, and ultimately, you can give lots of managers all the money in the world, and they still wouldn't be where Pep's team is.
Yeah. But the characterisation of the question and the reasons why the responses are coming back is because we've characterised it, are Manchester City underappreciated? Well, no, they're not. I don't know what you want. And I also don't necessarily agree with the position of the fact that Pep says, were we going to win it, were we not going to win it, was too much. Well, you lost to Lyon in a semi-final that you should have won.
Yep.
You didn't turn up against Chelsea. So these were on you and your decisions rather than your ability to win this tournament.
True.
But you have to admire Manchester City for their performance on the field, whether you like the manner in which they got there and the allegations that surround them.
You do have to admire that, Simon.
You can't not do, can you?
No, but there are those who just flat won.
Yeah, but that's the you would.
But that's
won.
tribalism.
Yeah,
that's just tribalism.
I'm not so sure. Let's put it out there. Will City, who look to be full throttle, going well, won in Copenhagen last night, will they head to another final? Will they win it? Well, who's to say they won't? But will they ever be revered like those who have gone before them? You think of that 1999 European Cup win for Manchester United against Bayern Munich in the Nou Camp, that famous one at the end, which made Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Will that always be seen in a different light? Does City have still a lot to do to be compared to the likes of United back then? Or are they there already? Are they eclipsing United's achievement in 99 already? Will they ever be revered like those who have gone before them? We're talking about City looking good and looking good to go all the way again. No one can deny that. No one can deny that. City look a class apart. Will they win the Champions League back to back? Will they do it again? And if they do, will their European successes ever be idolised in the same way as the likes of Manchester United's back in 1999?
By whom, though? Idolised by whom? Lauded over by whom?
The football public. They look at it, they see what City are doing. But United back in the Nou Camp, that was something else.
But who says that other than a United fan?
United fans, to a man, to a woman.
Yeah, but City fans will do it about Rodri's
No, but
goal.
Danny, look at the texts that are
You don't
coming
get
in this
Liverpool
morning.
fans or Tottenham fans going, oh, remember that United team in 99.
There's one. I would not recognise City if they win another Champions League final because of what has gone on behind the scenes. The charges.
Yeah,
This is what they're up against.
But that's not relevant to me.
Okay, I think it's totally irrelevant. I think it's totally irrelevant.
All the powerhouses of English football over time who've been successful have spent loads of money. But what we're talking about is football, aesthetically pleasing football to the eye,
Manchester
right?
City a legacy club? There you go. That very reaction tells us everything.
I think this
And we're
team...
live on YouTube and Facebook. You saw it.
Well, this team is creating legacy, isn't it? And that's Man City, with the players they've got and what they're doing over a period of time. Yeah. So
they're a legacy club.
Well, in terms of...
You put them alongside your Liverpool, alongside Sir Alex's Manchester United. You'd put them there, would you? Legacy club.
They need to do it for longer to be that, don't they? Over a decade. Maybe longer to put them in the same breath as Liverpool and Manchester United. Worldwide, the support's nowhere near. So lots of things go against that argument. But in terms of the football on the pitch, what we're seeing, it's been absolutely incredible. And also, I think Pep's influence and the way he plays his football is probably the most influential manager we've had in my time, in terms of how other teams and other managers are trying to copy what he's doing. Football has changed.
He's been more influential than Sir Alex.
Yeah, in terms of style of football, yeah. Absolutely.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.